Praise the Lord, and welcome to Fantline. Today's message is Two-Faced America. It's in the devil. Now, some people, and I must forewarn you, some people may get offended by this, but I want you to please have an open ear, an open heart, because I will specifically point out white America. Okay? I'm going to specifically point out white America. We are in a situation, be it America, in a racial upheaval. We are in a situation that needs to be talked about. It needs to be addressed. It needs to come to the forefront. Now, I have, through the week, put out some podcasts speaking on the subject. Speaking on the subject of the George Floyd killing. I have mentioned the decades-long systematic injustices towards black people. I have mentioned the killing of a 14-year-old black child in 1955 because he was accused of whistling at a white woman. He was brutally beaten, bludgeoned, so to speak. His head was so damaged, his face was so damaged that it was unrecognizable. His skull was crushed. A boy, 14 years old. His killers went off. They did not serve any jail time. No jail time. I'm talking about a system through the years, through the decades, that has wrongly convicted black people, a police system in every city that has been corrupt towards black people. And no, don't get it twisted. I'm not talking about true criminals. I'm talking about situations where a misdemeanor winds up being a murder to that black person who was arrested for a misdemeanor. I'm talking about situations where black people have been pulled over just because they were black and wound up being killed, wound up being beaten. That's what I'm talking about. And it's happened over and over and over and over again. The specifics of this message is to point out to white people And this is where some people may get offended, so to speak. And trust me, I do not say, and I will not say white people to offend you. I just want to be specific. Okay? Because I've had other situations, I've had other messages where I have pointed out towards black people in saying we need to get our act together. Okay? So now for the first time I am saying, white people, listen here. Listen here. This gets started. No. It was reignited with the George Floyd killing. But this has been happening repeatedly over and over and over and over again. And what I want to point out is that in order for the races to come together, there must be understanding. There must be understanding. Now, I'm saying this and I'm having this message because on one hand, I as a black man can look into or know about white culture. No problem. No problem at all. But then when my white counterparts, Christians especially, there is a lack of understanding, a lack of knowing about the culture. So in this regard, I'm calling you out. I'm saying it's time to start to understand. It's time to come out of the cocoon. And I know you can have many stories of friendships, coming togethers, and so forth. But I'm talking about a deep down understanding. Because I've been approached by white friends who say they didn't understand or can't understand why that there's upheaval, protesting going on. Now, I don't condone the looting and rioting. I don't condone that. And also I want to point out that there have been infiltrations from white supremacists who want to ignite riots and so forth. And that's another story. I just wanted to preface that also. So no, I don't condone it. Don't condone it at all. But like I said, I want to bring to the forefront that there needs to be a greater understanding in order to have unity and move forward. See, because right now since I'm hearing that there's a lack of understanding, because I was told that, well, initially, I'm talking about initially with the first officer being arrested. And the thing is that, well, the response was, well, he's arrested, isn't he? But we know from history that an arrest doesn't necessarily mean jail time. Doesn't necessarily mean jail time. Because with the Rodney King situation, now there were a bunch of officers standing around taking swings at this guy. getting in their licks. 4, and from the video I saw more than 4, but 4 were supposedly brought to justice. 3 were acquitted. This is the type of situation that Black America is talking about. And from either by some technicality or the way the system is, especially with police officers, there is an ingrained situation, whereas they're going to have a lot of slack. But let me give you a little scripture here. Matthew chapter 23, verses 1 through 6. Then spoke Jesus to the multitude and to his disciples, saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. All therefore, whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do, but do not ye after their works, for they say and do not. For they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne, and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move with one of their fingers. But all their works they do to be seen of men. They make broad their situations, and enlarge the borders of their garments, and love the uppermost rooms at feast, and the chief seats in the synagogues. Okay, you're saying, okay, what is that saying? Basically, that is saying, on one hand, people, white America, can be at the forefront, so to speak, to make a good posture, to make it look good. But I'm talking about getting down to the nitty-gritty, getting the nails dirty, and so forth. That's what I'm talking about. And I've mentioned this, whereas, see, when you have power, or when you have the position of power, it's easy to, or more or less it's hard to get dirty and grimy. And what I mean is, when you have a people or peoples that have been wronged or oppressed in certain situations, sometimes it's a little hard to get out of the recliner, so to speak, and get a little dirty. Get a little dirty, being that you gather your other friends together, that other friends that they have not been, or not went through what you've gone through, what your black friend has gone through. Getting together and saying, you know what, there does need to be a change within the system. There does need to be a change in the way this person is treated and that person is treated. There does need to be a change. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Because when you say, I don't understand why they're not satisfied with this or that, then you truly don't understand. I equate this to the Pharisees when Jesus came on the scene. Jesus came and he shook things up. He shook it up. Pharisees didn't like this because he was shaking up the status quo. He was shaking up the complacency, the normalcy of what they had going on, and they didn't want that shaken up. See, they went out, in essence, well-meaning people. But when you shake up, someone comes along and shakes up the status quo, then there's a problem, there's an issue. Sometimes people don't want to come out of their comfort zone. And that's what I'm saying right now. It's time to come out of the comfort zone. It's time to get off the recliner. It's time because the world around you, the world around us is saying it's time. From the United States to London to Paris and so on, it's time. White America, you were up in arms literally a few weeks ago. And again, don't take this personally. I'm just making observation here, okay? Making observation. Up in arms literally. And I'm saying this figuratively. That when it came to situations of people getting tired of being on lockdown from the coronavirus, across the nation, there were protesters, white protesters, who were armed to the teeth. Shotguns, semi-automatics, sledgehammers, you name it. Nothing was done to them. And even in lieu of that, some progress was made because they wanted things done. They stormed the state capitals and city halls and so forth, voiced their opinions, because they know that they're within the system that tries to do right by them. I'm just stating facts. I'm just stating truth. The system is not geared toward black people overall. It's not. Some of you may disagree. I'm sure you will. Those who truly know, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. So I say this. I pose this to you. My white comrades, my white friends, my white Christians. And yes, overall, after all, when all is said and done, we are all the same. But we have to get past this point. We have to get past this point of color. But we can't do that until we come to a understanding, a mutual understanding of what's really going on. And we have to have conversations like this. And I know it hurts. I don't like talking about I don't like having discussions like this. But I'm being led to do so. And I will. I want you to have, white America, that same fervor that those white Americans had storming to the forefront of the capitals in various cities, demanding a change, demand that racism be obliterated, demand that systematic changes must take place, demand these things. You say you love? You say you're colorblind? I challenge you. Demand these things. Demand these things of our mayors, the governors, and so on. Demand these things. That's what's needed. A voice from white America. And yeah, I've seen in these protests, many white people in these protests. The difference also has to be from white America to start these things. Not just blacks. This situation happened with George Floyd, and it's been happening all through this year. The difference maker overall will be white America. See, the racists, they're going to do what they're going to do. I expect that from them. I expect it from them. But what about you who say you are friends? What are you going to do? See, now it's the time to step up. My white Christian friends, when you got saved, just like myself, when I got saved, it wasn't about keeping it to myself. It was about going out and spreading the word, getting off my butt, not being ashamed of being a follower of Christ. Not being ashamed. Not fearing a rebuttal because of my beliefs. I pose the same to you, especially being Christians. Not being ashamed to say what is being done, what has been done is wrong. And please, I know that there are good cops. I know that. I know it. But a lot of times, those good cops are swayed by the system itself. I know this. I know this. I've been in the military. I have been in law enforcement. I know this. I speak from knowledge. I speak from experience. I know this. And what baffles me is that yet you will continue to say you don't understand. We have knowledge at our fingertips. Knowledge at our fingertips. It's called the internet. There needs to be understanding. And even in this situation, I speak to the young black people also. Because I'm seeing a lot of you also that don't understand, don't know about history. Also, it's time for you to step up. Learn. Learn what's going on. Learn why these things are happening. Because you say you don't understand, fine, okay. Now it's time to step up to the plate and start to try to understand. You see, I'm the type of person, I love knowledge. I love knowledge. I will listen to the conservative. I will listen to the liberal. I will factor things in. I want to hear both sides of the story. I want to see both sides of the coin. I try to be a well-rounded person. But overall, seek Jesus first. Like I said, the system is designed to go against black people. Yes, it does. It does. It does. It was there from the inception. It does. America has a lot of great fundamentals, a lot of great things about America, but the ingrained system of racism needs to be wiped out of it. It needs to be wiped away. That's what we need to start fighting for. The system of injustice. What also shows me a divide is Colin Kaepernick when he took a knee during the national anthem. White America got beside themselves. Didn't understand. He clearly came out and said, including Black America, said that it's not a disrespect thing towards the flag. It was to protest the injustice that was going on and still is going on. That's what that was about and is about. Did he go burning the flag? No. And if you really want to know the fine details of disrespecting the flag, I looked it up. Having a coffee mug with the flag emblazoned on it is disrespect. Having a t-shirt with the flag on it is disrespect. That's disrespecting the flag. Like I said, I was military, and my mindset is still military. Outside of my home, I have a flag. I have a flag. I think me and two other people in the neighborhood, we fly a flag. So it wasn't about disrespect. It was about wanting to show and let America know what's going on is wrong. What's going on is wrong. Disrespecting the flag is to continue to let injustice within the system run rampant. That is disrespecting the flag. We need to get our priorities straight. See, the devil is the puppeteer of all this going on. And he's pulling the strings of those who allow themselves to be pulled by him. He does it very subtly. And even with, now I've been speaking directly towards white people, white America. And again, please do not take offense to this. Because my message is to wake up. Wake up. Like I said, the devil, and some black Americans too, I heard one guy say that Black America is not oppressed. That's why I say even with some black people, there is confusion. There is confusion. So what are some solutions here? Again, there must be understanding and knowledge of what's going on, both sides of the coin. The ingrained worded system of racism has to change. It has to change. It has to change. White people, white America, you need to have more knowledge of what's going on. Black America, talking about the youth of Black America, you need to gain knowledge of past history. Black America also needs to come together. Come together, stop fighting one another. Learn to know who you are. Learn to know who you are, because since the start of time, since the days of the Bible, you were right there. And you were not slaves. You were not something low, but you were men and women of high regard from the start of the Bible. Black America needs to assert themselves with black-owned businesses, black-owned banks, black-owned stores, and have more to do with black-owned schools. Let me rephrase that. Have more to do with the school system. And in some situations, black-owned schools also. But what I'm saying is, we as a people, we first have to not look at ourselves in low regard, but high regard, high esteem. Because when you see yourself in high regard, then others will see you in high regard. And lastly, most of all, and I'm sure some will disagree in this, acknowledge God in all things. Acknowledge Christ as Lord and Savior. Accept Jesus as the way. Accept Him as the truth. Accept Him as the light. And then you put all these things together. We can come together. Truly come together. Truly come together.